of middle contractors versus quality concrete. I would like to introduce the plaintiffs.
May it please the court, my name is Rachel O'Farrell, Lead Counsel representing the case of the Contractor Limited and Quality Contract Limited. My client is still independent and will be covering economic loss suffered by them as a result of Quality Concrete Limited's negligence. I would like to call Mr. Cavan O'Sullivan to the stand. In your expert report, you mentioned the issue of block cracking. Could you describe this issue to the court and determine any possible causes of this issue?
Well, basically the back cracking occurred from a number of different causes, the main of which I think was the spacing of the joints. The joints, they should have been spaced 15 metres apart, whereas they were actually spaced 16 and 20 metres apart. This was probably the main reason for the mat cracking. In addition to this, I think that the placement of the reinforcement mesh was inadequate. It should have been placed 50 millimetres below the top of the concrete in the tension area. It was actually, as found in the cores, it was placed in the middle and the bottom in some places. This would have added to the cracking.
And is it safe to say this is not standard practice?
No, it's not standard practice.
The problem concerning pop-ups is also mentioned in the expert report. Again, please describe this issue and the reasons that led to this.
Basically, the pop-ups occurred because of materials in the concrete which should not have been there. There was clay, stone particles and wood particles found in the concrete. These are porous particles. They would have absorbed water, and because the concrete was around them, they had no room to expand. So basically, pop-ups occurred because of the expansion of these particles, and it just popped up through the surface of the concrete.
So the pop-ups, while not aesthetically pleasing, did they have any real influence on the condition?
No, they wouldn't have any structural implications to the floor.
And is there a degree of uncertainty as to whether my client or the defendants were at fault for the presence of the wood particles?
It's uncertain. They could have occurred in the batching plant, or they could have occurred on site from cut-offs from the formwork. And the clay stone particles could have occurred in the raw materials in the batching plant, or they could have been drawn up through the concrete from the ground conditions on site through vibration.
So there's no evidence that can provide us with a certain amount of say as to who is at fault?
No.
Furthermore, you may note in your expert report that many different reasons during the construction could be responsible for large cracking that occurred in the property. Could you describe to us the correct spacing and control joints and where these are vital?
Basically, according to the Portland Cement Association, for slab thickness of 6 inches and for a maximum aggregate size of 3/4 of an inch or larger, joints should be placed every 15 feet. In the warehouse, the joints are actually placed at 16 feet and 20 feet. This is, I think, the main cause of the cracking, because when the concrete is drying, shrinkage occurs, and these joints were inadequate, thus led to cracking.
And reference is also made to steel reinforcement. Could you elaborate on this?
Yeah, basically steel should be situated in the top 50 millimeter, below the surface of the concrete 50 millimeters in the tension zone of the concrete. The steel was actually found halfway down the concrete and at the bottom of the concrete, completely opposite to where it should be. So this is not best practice and it shouldn't be done.
Further questions?
Thank you.
So, plaintiff?
I'll now ask my colleague, Michelle Garrity, to continue our argument.
In the case court, the names and telephone will answer for the plaintiffs in the case of Little Contractors Limited and Quality Concrete. As per understanding involved in determining water works, 1857, Negligence is described as the omission to do something which is a reasonable plan, guided by these considerations, which ordinarily regulate the conduct of human affairs, would do, or doing something which prudent and reasonable man would not do. The duty of care principle states that you must take reasonable care to avoid acts or omissions which you can easily foresee would be likely to injure your neighbour. To address the issue of whether my client can be justified as a neighbour without conflict, we must look to the definition set out in the case of Bernard Creek and Stephen 1932. Persons who are so closely and directly affected by my act that I ought to reasonably have in contemplation as being so affected when I am directing my mind to acts or omissions which are called in question. The truth stage test for duty of care, as dictated in the case of Glencairn Railway Traffic Council 2002, Irish Report 54, is a true stage test. Stage 1, foreseeability, should have been in the minds of quality conflict at the time of supply. The defendant should have foreseen that any negligence on their part would have economic repercussions for my client. Our client is undoubtedly proximate to the defendant as they relied upon the subcontractor to provide them with a functioning product. It is reasonable, fair, and just that our client would assume that the defendant would take all reasonable steps to prevent economic loss on our part. We are of opinion that the defendant wished his duty owed to our client, certain to have applied concrete official on such during the manufacturing process. They are also negligent in the production of the concrete, including air injury, admixture, and calcium chloride, which any professional in this field should know is inappropriate as per junior books noted in worksheet code Unity 1982. The respondents affirmed that the appellants were specialists informed that the appellants knew what products were required and specialised in the production of these products, that the respondents relied on the appellants' skill and expertise, and that the appellants as nominated subcontractors must have known that the respondents relied upon their skill and expertise. The but-for test for factual causation says that there must be a physical or scientific link between the act or omission of the defendant and the damage suffered by the plaintiff. Lord Hoffman Statutory Asset Management Corporation, a Lord Mortgage Limited, is a classic example. A mountaineer about to undertake a difficult climb is concerned about the fitness of his knee. He goes to a doctor who negligently makes a superficial examination and pronounces the knee fit. The climber goes on with the expedition, which he would not have undertaken if the doctor had told him the true state of the knee. In this case, similarly, the plaintiff would never have villaged the concrete if they had previously been aware of his proposition. It is reasonably foreseeable that the conduct would have inflicted on the plaintiff a particular kind of damage complained of mainly pure economic loss. Reverting to the case of Junior Works Limited states that the relationship between parties is viewed by the court as being as close as it could be, and the parents were taken to know that if they did work negligently, the resulting defects would at some time require remedial measures, in consequence of which the respondents would suffer financial or economic loss. It was held that the action was relevant by the Lord Fraser of Terry Wilson, Russell of Lowe, and Oscar. Because of all the conditions existing, it created the necessary degree of proximity, giving rise to a duty of care owed by the appellant to the respondents, and there was no reason, based on the facts, to restrict the duty of care arising from that proximity. May it please the court clear its argument on behalf of the plaintiff.
Just a quick question for the expert witness, if that's okay. You mentioned materials in the concrete. Would the materials that were in the concrete make the concrete unusable at all, or just for purposes of the particular fat floor that was required here?
Basically, there was some materials within the concrete that weren't suitable for concrete, which caused the pop-ups that we're seeing. But this didn't cause any structural, it wouldn't have caused any problems within the structure of the concrete, but it's just unsightly to have them in the floor.
And you mentioned that you believe the main cause of cracking was the joints between the concrete. I'd just like to clarify, and this is open to the plaintiff counsel as well. if I'm reading the case right, the floor was laid by the plaintiffs and the concrete was supplied by the defendants. Just making that's true, yes? Okay, just clarifying that. Okay, we'd like to hear a response from the defendants.
May it please the court. My name is Lisa Collins. I'm appearing with my colleagues Nicola Hackett and Brian Fleming for the defence of Baltic Concrete. Can I ask the witness, please? Can you specify?
Just stay there.
Sorry, I thought she was calling them. Sorry.
Okay. Who specified calcium chloride was to be present in the concrete?
It was mentioned in the contract that calcium chloride was to be.
Okay, thank you. Did quality concrete keep within the allowed limits of 0.1% calcium chloride?
It was, yes.
When our client, Quality Concrete, sent a report outlining the type of concrete they would send, did the contractor's engineer approve this?
Yes.
What type of soil was used under the concrete floor slab?
Okay, so,
In your opinion, was this the correct type of soil that should have been used?
yes.
What, in your opinion, caused the upward pressure on the slab that could lead to the cracking?
Shrinkage.
Shrinkage. And what could do you think caused the shrinkage?
The rapid, the calcium chloride and the admixtures that were added to the concrete, this caused the concrete to dry too quickly, which would cause shrinkage.
Can you tell the court what wire mesh in a floor slab does?
It's located in the tension zone, and it's one of the factors that stops concrete from cracking.
And who was responsible for placing the wire mesh in the floor slab?
Little contractors.
Certain contractors. Where was this wire mesh placed?
It was placed in the middle and the bottom of the concrete,
Was this the correct position for it to
No.
be placed? No. Where should it have been placed?
and the top
At the
50
top.
millimeter blow surface.
And if the mesh were placed at the top, would it have resisted the upward pressure of the soil?
It would have helped, but it's not guaranteed that it would have stopped the concrete or the cracking completely.
Okay. When did the contractors become aware of the cracks in the slab?
Shortly after it was constructed.
Were there any continuing maintenance or inspection procedures done during the noticing of the crack?
No.
No further questions, Your Honor.
Is that everything from the plaintiffs? We open the floor to the plaintiffs for please.
I just like to ask what size either is released in concrete.
It wasn't specified in the documents that were given on the case. It says that it's for using concrete.
Our clients feel that a supervisor from Quality Concrete should have been present at the time to oversee the work. Do you agree with this?
It would have been on the yeah.
Okay, do we have any rebuttal from the defendants?
Would you like to call our witness?
Um,
We would like to call our expert witness, John Wood. Hi, Sean. Were Quality Concrete responsible for making the concrete?
Yes, it was Quality Concrete were responsible for making it.
Were Quality Concrete responsible for placing the concrete?
No, it wasn't Quality Concrete's responsibility to place it. That was the contractor.
Can you tell us what is the standard procedure for agreeing on a concrete design?
Originally, the engineer of little contractors would specify a suitable strength that would be suitable for that slab. They would get onto us and we would create a mix that can achieve this strength, and then it will be approved by the engineer of little contractors.
And what type of concrete did little contractors specify?
They specify to have 4,000 psi strength concrete.
And what tests were carried out to test the strength of the concrete?
There was 2 tests. There was tests carried out just before the concrete was placed. And this was carried out by little contractors. There was a cylinder test, and also when the slab had failed, AMC, the investigating company, did core samples of the concrete.
And what were the results of these tests?
The results of these tests showed that the strength of the concrete was adequate in both instances.
Was the strength of the concrete supplied to little contractor specifications?
Yeah, it was suitable and exceeded the 4,000 psi requirement.
And what soil was used as your concrete slab?
The soil that was used was silt with low plasticity, or is classified as ML. It had a high quantity of silt and clay.
And did this soil meet the correct specifications?
No, in the contract provided, it said ML fell under the unsatisfactory soil for backfilling.
Was the soil compacted to the correct specifications?
When compacting the soil, a lab test is done with a modified Proctor test, which was done to obtain results for maximum dry density and moisture content when compaction is most effective. However, results from the field results showed that these results exceeded this and were shown to exceed the 0 air voids mark.
And what could overcompaction of soil lead to?
As this soil was made up of mainly silt and clay, it's an expansive material, so overcompaction could lead to swelling of the soil, and this could lead to the overprotection on the bottom of the slab.
And where was the steel reinforcement in the slab placed?
There was cores taken on the slab that showed that the steel reinforcement was on the bottom or in the middle in the instances taken.
And in your opinion, was this the correct position for it?
No, as the steel should be placed at the top of the slab, providing enough cover. This is to make sure that it's in the tension zone and would resist any upward forces that were applied from the soil.
Who cured and finished the concrete?
It was little contractors who finished the concrete.
And how was the floor slab finished?
It was finished by power floating and also troweling.
Did the finish of the floor slab contribute to the cracking in your opinion?
Yeah, the finish is very important because it's not treated right. Shrinkage can happen. When the concrete starts to grow, it should be treated with water or a curing agent. And if this isn't the case, shrinkage can happen and mat cracking can appear on the slab.
Was it finished to the specifications required by little contractors?
No, the slab wasn't. The slab was meant to be a super flat slab. The requirements said it was have a maximum fall of 1/8 of an inch over 10 foot. However, this was shown from results that exceed this limit and throughout the floor.
Finally, did little contractors show negligence in the construction and design of the floor slab in your opinion?
Yes, it can be shown that they exceeded or they did methods outside the standard, and also they broke specifications with the soil, placing the reinforcement and the finishing techniques.
Okay, thanks very much. No further questions.
Okay, we've heard a lot of technical details. These are all very new to me. I'm not an engineer. So I'm going to sort of summarize them as much as I can, as well as I can. It seems that the floor in the Bright Lights and Company factory, the floor failed for a number of reasons. Many of these reasons, or some of these reasons mentioned, include the spacing of the joints, the placement of the reinforcement mesh, the properties of the soil underneath, and the properties of the finishing that was put on the floor. These are all highly contributory to the eventual failing of the floor. And the question is, who is responsible for this? We've heard from the plaintiffs and the definitions of negligence and duty of care, and it is undoubted that there is duty of care owed by the defendants to provide a satisfactory level of product, provide satisfactory service. However, we do not think that the actual duty of care that they should adhere to was breached. Many of the reasons why the floor has failed, apparently to me, is in fact the fault of the plaintiff. For example, the spacing of the joints as the floor was laid by the plaintiffs and not of the defendant. That would fall under the category of fault of the plaintiff. Along with this, the finishing of the concrete, the placement of the reinforcement steel mesh, and the properties of the soil underneath would all be outside of the control of the defendant, and it would be unfair to hold them liable for them. And the popping up that happened while there were materials that were in the concrete that were provided by the defendants that perhaps should not have been there. These should have been pointed out by the plaintiffs. They should have done a greater test and should have noticed when the test said that these weren't of good minimum standard for the purposes of flat floor where it was being used. For those reasons, we find in favour of the defendants, and we do not hold them contributory to this case.
Okay, we're concluding. Are we concluding?
Yes.
Okay, and that's it.